to report back to the instructor. And this is an example, it's still crude at this point, an example of what in a statistics course the instructor gets back the morning after the students have hopefully mostly done the homework. It tells the instructor a good deal of information about what the students did and didn't get on each of the problems that they were given. This includes the virtual chemistry laboratory. In that class, the professor can actually rerun what the students did in the laboratory to see what they chose to do and what they chose not to do, if he chooses to. We're working on aggregating that data. So we're working on aggregating all this data so that it's easier to use. How effective is all this? This is a lot of work. It's a team that does it. It's a team of content experts, cognitive scientists, human-computer interaction experts, assessment experts, design experts that work on all these courses. And many of the faculty working in different areas work with one another. They become the kind of transdisciplinary team you heard about yesterday. How effective is it? Here's one example. Now at Carnegie Mellon, we teach the statistics course in half a semester rather than a full semester, using the Open Learning Initiative statistics course as the textbook. They meet once a week, and this was a randomized experiment where the OLI course is on the left. It's a randomized experiment of pre-test and post-test of a standardized test in statistics. The class that used the Open Learning Initiative in half the semester did significantly better on the standardized test than a very good traditional course, a small class of only about 25. So it was dramatically better in half the time. We have, if you go to the site, assessment is a huge part of what we do. You will find many papers on the various courses that are doing this kind of rigorous assessment. So what's our vision of the future? Our vision of the future is that you get that kind of feedback that the race car team gets. That there is a dashboard. You find these dashboards all over industry. Why don't they exist in education? The dashboard says, this is how your class is doing. They're getting this concept, they're not getting this concept, you need to work here, they're okay there, you can ignore it. So it gives you a profile of the entire class as a faculty member so that you can know what to concentrate. Imagine that. You could walk in the next morning knowing what to concentrate on. And the class knows that you know what to concentrate on too. It's a remarkable experience. The faculty who use this report as a remarkable experience. So it's something like this. The student works at 9 o'clock at night. That really should be more like midnight. Right? The student is there working in the Open Learning Initiative environment, and it's recording a lot about what they're doing, so it knows whether they're getting concept A or not. The faculty member goes in at 10 o'clock in the morning and says, well, I'm going to lecture on concept A today. Let me look at the dashboard and see how the class did on concept A. Geez, they didn't do very well on concept A. I guess I better really deal with that. But they did okay on concept B. That's okay. So I'm going to work on concept A today, and I'm going to spend much more time on concept A than I had planned to. This instrumenting of virtual learning environments. They're virtual learning environments that are, think of Fabrizio's wonderful networks, that can be networked from anywhere in the world to gather data about what the students are doing in these virtual learning environments, not just from one university, but from multiple universities, so that we can feed back data to the learning scientists. And this is data from the Pittsburgh Sciences of Learning Center, where they're just tracking one particular student's number of times he or she is asking for hints about a particular concept. And over the period of the course, over the period of weeks. Fortunately, that's going down. In some cases, it doesn't go down. That tells you something about how good the instruction is. So there's also feedback to the learning sciences. So what you get is this rich network of feedback loops from student learning data from these virtual learning environments. You get feedback first and most importantly to the student that tells the student how they're doing, what they need to concentrate on. You get feedback to the instructor about what to do in subsequent classes. You get feedback to the course designers who are working on next semester's course so that next semester gets better and better and better. And you get feedback to the learning scientists who are studying this whole thing. So the future, we need to create what we call a scholarship of teaching. This means merging instruction with research. We can't solve the problems we've been talking about without doing this. We've got to increase the quality and the access of higher education quickly. What we're talking about here is a new strategy that joins the results and methodologies of the learning sciences with ICT. ICT used, informed by the learning sciences and scientific methodology for continuous improvement in education. How often do we get continuous improvement in education? This is a real possibility. Isolated faculty, I'm borrowing from you again, thank you. I'm borrowing from my new friend from ASU again. Isolated faculty efforts do not scale, right? Transdisciplinary teams creating and researching networked virtual learning environments will change that model. We can change the model. Yes, we can. In the words of one of our heroes at Carnegie Mellon, Herb Simon, again a Nobel laureate, but a Nobel laureate who was a polymath. His Nobel Prize was in economics, even though his training was in sociology, and he started the School of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon, so yeah, he was one of those guys. But what he talked to us 25 years ago about this very issue. And he said, improvement in post-secondary education will require converting teaching from a solo sport to a community-based research activity. And I believe that is the direction of the future. Thank you very much.